Hi and welcome everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Fresh Jazzy Sounds. A show filled with new vinyl with a jazzy vibe and something extra. This time again I have a test pressing, this time of a great artist, an artist from the UK. It is Foat and I will needle drop that later in the show. But first, let's put the needle in the groove. And we start off with a surprise. At least it was a surprise to me. I didn't realize this kind of music was still being made. It is released by Heavenly Sweetness, Kham Meslien with Foat. And if you just look at the cover, it says it all. The music on this vinyl disc is exactly what the cover presents, and that is also something that is unique for vinyl. You get Kham playing double bass, that's almost all you will hear. But he does it so well. It is so playful. It grabs you. And it is of course easy to take parallels to the past. As Kham is from France, there are big bass players from that area that did something similar. But that's not the point. This is something new, this is something fresh. And I think the hype sticker presents it very well. It says the sound of Kham double bass vibrates deeply into the soul. And it really does. Real and honest music, and I can't agree more. And the double bass. It really has a vibe of winter. But now it's time to change seasons and we go from winter time to summertime with this album Force of the Wind. The cover already shows it a little bit. We are in the change of seasons, so it fits very well. This one is filled with Brazilian vibes, going back to the Brazilian vibes of the 70s. But when you look at the cover at the back side, you see something strange. We are now listening to a song off screen. The first song was, for example, called Song with No Words, but behind it there's lettering in acrylic, and that suggests it's Russian, and it is. What you're listening to are Russian words, it's somebody singing in Russian, and that is really surprising. On the other hand, I don't understand Portuguese, I don't understand Russian, but I found it brilliant that Mr. Bongo had the guts to release this and bring it out. It is recorded in Minsk, the band is called Soyuz, and it is a Russian album by Russian musicians, just honoring the vibe of Brazil. And last week I got an awesome package in the mail. It was sent from the UK and the sender was Foat. He sent his latest test pressing. It's called Themen and Foat, and the title of the album will be Y.O.P.E. It will be released halfway April or maybe end of April, soon anyway. The cover is also released. I will show a picture here, and that already shows you are getting something that is very much cinematic grooves. Greg is playing the Rhodes, a Roland and a Prophet 10, and there are some special guests. That makes this one extra interesting. It is recorded in Aberdeen, and what I believe they were visiting a wedding. I don't know whose wedding it was, but on that wedding was also Amanda Whiting. And maybe you remember Amanda Whiting, harpist who also plays very beautiful. And when you mix that with the Rhodes, the delicateness of the harp, it fits so very well. And then you have the main man, Foat, who really can play other people, let them play so well, but also his own playing on this one. He really takes the foreground. But together with Themen, the saxophone player. And Art has really they bonded so well together, Greg and Art. They really form a unity. And those themes that they play, because it almost plays like a library album, and as you can hear now. But it's not all those kind of road songs, because Greg is a real man, he has real toys, and he is collecting a lot of analog synths. And one of those is the Prophet 10, and he really is playing with it. And also on other tracks you get a different vibe, which very well fit this album and make it something unique. Last time I played another test pressing, a test pressing by B&M Records. This is how the cover now looks. It is filled with jazzy grooves, all from fresh new artists that only released, for example, their music on digital format or maybe only a single, but they are collected all on this album. It is not necessarily all artists from the label itself, B&M Records, but also from foreign labels. But they put it all together because the music is from a specific area. That's the north of France, the south of Belgium, the west of Germany and a little piece of Swiss. And it is really amazing how much music is being made and all embracing the jazzy vibe and the vibe that I also love. But it's great that so many new bands are creating and releasing this music. And for example, we are now listening to Cow Trio. They're from Brussels, Belgium. It has a crazy good vibe, but my favorite, that is Trio Ritate. That's a German band with Whatitdo, and that is what I want to sample next. For the next album we are going to Italy. It is an album I almost bought just alone for the cover and the title. The title is brilliant. Music for Closed Airports, Lorenzo Morresi. And it is of course an album you can only create during the corona pandemic, and came up with this title. It is not really airport music, although maybe you can classify it as such. It is instrumental jazzy music, mixing it with broken beat. Lorenzo plays the guitar, the bass, the sax, the Roland and other keys, which suggests he has done it himself, but it isn't. He's helped by friends who play the electric piano, drums. There are vocals on the album, and it is a little bit experimental in the way that he's differentiating and trying different music to record, but together it fits one whole and it sounds great. And with all those artists, fresh artists from different countries, I also have to include, of course, my own country, Holland. A new band that has released its first IP is Y.O.P.E. It is called Lost But Here. It is an EP, 6 songs, and it is the sound previously you heard Lorenzo Morresi play, mixing that jazzy vibe with broken beat. It is also a little bit like a modern trio, because the guys who are playing is Y.O.P.E, he's playing the bass guitar, Louis the drums, and Tommy the keys, the synths. So you have a modern interpretation of a trio, and that is also how it sounds. They're playing around, fiddling a little bit, getting into a groove, but also experimenting a little bit. Next song I want to sample is Hoi, which means hi. next album we are going back to Italy with a lost soundtrack from the 70s, The Black Stone Affair. A beautiful soundtrack. I had never heard of the music or the film, I think not many did. If you look at the stills from the movie on the back cover, it looks beautiful. Typical Italian movie, late 70s. If you look at the titles of the songs, it is like Blood Chief, Italian Love Triangle, Last Train to Budapest, Farewell to Lola. It fits something, it gives a vibe, and the music, you can just imagine how the movie is. On the inside of the gatefold there is also some notes by Sean Lee, and he says it very well. There is rare and then there is rare. The Black Stone Affair is a motion picture soundtrack composed by Maestro Sandro Munari, falls into this category. This is the ultimate Dingueries holy grail, with only the most obsessed collectors among us even know it existed. And there is a reason so little people know about it, because it is new. It is all made up, the whole theme, of course. The musicians and the creators are inspired by the music from the late 70s, by Italian library music, Italian spaghetti movies. It has that vibe, and they did it very well. There's quite a lot of people playing on this album, and it really, the vibe, it could have been a late 70s album. It is not, but if you like that kind of music, check this one out. It sounds great.